A chilly and rainy Sunday in New Jersey, but that's nothing these two teams aren't accustomed to. The New York Cosmos are feeling good after winning 2 straight. Meanwhile, Forward Madison are hunting for a bounce-back result during their early season expedition. Welcome back to Hinchliffe Stadium. My name is Mark Schoenster here on ESPN+. Can't wait to get this one started. First off, for the home side, the Cosmos feeling really good. They were hunting for their first win of the season, and now they've tagged 2 in a row here at home. First, knocking off Fort Wayne, and then bouncing the Charlotte Independents in what was a really dramatic affair, that second game against Charlotte. And in both of those games, you can look at the tactics of it, but I think the more important takeaway here has been the determination and the mindset that they've carried throughout those 2 games. It's something that Davide Corti, the manager, has been looking for, and maybe they've just now found it. Meanwhile, if you want to talk tactics, then you got to start with number 8, Ajmir Spangler. Hat trick in the last game, earned player of the week, which you would imagine after scoring the first hat trick of the season in USL League One play. He is so dangerous in transition as both a supplier and as a scorer, currently tied for the league lead in goals with 4 of them himself. Of course, you get a hat trick in a game, that's going to bump you up the goal scoring standings pretty quickly. Then, on the other side of things for Forward Madison, they start the season with 2 wins on the road, and then they suffer their first loss in league play this season last weekend against Union Omaha, a game that Matt Glazer and his company felt they deserved at least a draw, but a questionable penalty is awarded. Union Omaha takes advantage of it, and that's the story. Up to this point in the season, Forward Madison has been a little bit stifled on offense, and they need to pick it up on that side of the ball so then they can threaten to get 3 points on the road as opposed to trying to hang on to a single point. Because on the defensive side of things, it's looked pretty good, and it's been a refurbished back line for Matt Glazer and his company. The back 3, all new faces. I mean, almost the entire team is new faces, but it starts with Kevin Carmichael as that center back. His communication with JT Harms behind him, and Jackson Castro and Roman Torres in front of him, along with his 2 center backs to his sides. It's going to be so crucial today as they try to limit what is a really potent Cosmos offense. The League One excitement from Saturday trickles into Sunday with this match kicking off a 2-game slate. It's the Cosmos and the Mingos coming up next on ESPN+.
I'm Bree, and I am Ion.
नाम कलीम जान है और मैं आयन हूँ.
Yo soy Ion Bank.
I'm Tajinder Kaur, ਅਸੀਂ Ion Bank ਹੁੰਦੇ ਹਾਂ.
I'm Taiwan, and I am Ion.
اسمي أدمى وأنا Ion.
Ja jestem Ion Bank.
Eu sou Ion Bank.
Ja jestem Ion Bank.
I am Ion. I'm Bree, and I am Ion.
नाम कलीम जान है और मैं आयन हूँ.
Yo soy Ion Bank.
I'm Tajinder Kaur, ਅਸੀਂ Ion Bank ਹੁੰਦੇ ਹਾਂ.
I'm Taiwan, and I am Ion.
اسمي أدمى وأنا Ion.
Ja jestem Ion Bank.
Eu sou Ion Bank.
Ja jestem Ion Bank.
I am Ion.
Starting lineups are presented by Ion Bank. First off, for the Cosmos, it'll be 3 changes from their lineup that were able to best the Charlotte Independents. Milovanov, who had to sub in early in that game, is once again in the lineup here. Meanwhile, Tino Puentes getting his first professional start along that back line, and then Tristan Stefani is back in goal with Derek Chan unavailable this game. Meanwhile, on the other side of things, Forward Madison two changes to their lineup that played against Union Omaha last weekend. Jackson Castro plugs into the middle of the pitch. Meanwhile, Ryan Carmichael up near the top of the formation on the attacking end, not to be confused with Kevin Carmichael, two of them in the starting 11 for Matt Glazer's side. Will be the two changes in this one. I mentioned Carmichael in the open, talking about Kevin, accompanied by Turner Humphrey and Colin McCamey. Started to build that chemistry early on, and when you start the season on their own, you've got to build off of defensive stability, and all of those new names and relatively young names, all things considered, have done a pretty good job shoring up things on that side of the ball. Now can they find the production offensively? The whistle sounds from Jeremy Shear, and we are ready to go here from Hinchliffe Stadium. A bit cold and soggy here in New Jersey. These two teams look to turn up the dial on the heat and find all 3 points here on Sunday. Mark Schoenster with you for this broadcast. Can't wait to see how this one transpires over the next 90 or so minutes. First ever meeting, of course, between these two sides. The Cosmos in their first year in USL League One, and Forward Madison, well, pretty far from their first year in USL League One as one of the founding members. And although, of course, the Mingos have the League One history behind them, you're going to talk about history. I mean, not many clubs across the United States have as much as this Cosmos team does. A new era for them. It's an era that they've not been able to pick up winning results in 2 straight home games with victories for Davide Corti's side. That win against Fort Wayne, and then what was a very interesting game against Charlotte Independence 2 weeks ago. They've been able to savor on that victory for a good while and really take the time to get ready for this game, and also, of course, to make your own personal tweaks as you have extra time. Gives you extra opportunities to maybe do some introspective training and really think about what you're building as a team, as opposed to having to constantly focus on what the next match is and getting ready for that very next game. Colin McCamey making a venture forward. His cross will sail off target, out for a goal kick. It's a 3-2 scoreline against the Jacks. All 3 of their goals coming from penalties, 2 of which were drawn by Christian Kofi. You don't really care if you're Davide Corti how you get the goals. If you get 3 goals in a match, you're feeling pretty good. And they produced other moments in that game. If you want to complain about all 3 goals being penalty kick goals, you could strip those 3 away as far as XG is concerned, and they had a pretty comparable output next to Charlotte Independence in that game, and really their 2 goals in that one were both stunners. Vico Ortiz scoring a curler, and then maybe a lucky deflection off a half chance from Jefferson Amaya. Tied the game up 2 separate occasions. They were able to keep at it, especially after going down a player, the Cosmos. Certainly not a result that feels unearned. Cami rolls it up the left-hand side. Genny Kanyane on the ball now. Meanwhile, for the Mingos, 1-0 loss against Union Omaha. A game that Matt Glazer said they defended hard in, and he's been happy with their start this season defensively. This one rolled back to the goalkeeper. Stefani booted up the pitch. The chances the Owls were able to find in that game mainly came from mishaps with the ball in possession for Forward Madison. So not when you're set and established defensively, it was when you gave them the ball in inopportune moments. But despite the solidity defensively, just not creating enough trouble on the other end of the ball, and so that's something that they're still trying to figure out as the season goes along, and you figure it'll come. And early on in the season, I think if you had to pick between offensive output and defensive stability. You take the stability and you anticipate that the goals will come eventually, because you can find them in a lot of different ways, not only just in build-up, but you can find yourself as a team that can pounce in transition, or perhaps you're a side that scores on set pieces, which is something that Forward Madison has been able to do in some of the games this year so far. Anor trying to dribble through two different players, and then he's called for the foul. Here's Matt Glazer. Currently right now, as far as USL League One games are concerned, he is at a clean 500. 39 wins, 39 losses, 42 draws, and that counts playoff matches. So he'll be looking to get above the 500 mark here this afternoon. Slipping ball through, and it's tapped out for a corner kick. Davide Galazzini, such a dangerous prospect down that right-hand side. Loves dashing to the right hand of the 18-yard box. He'll be looking to test this back three / back five for Forward Madison all afternoon. Looking to provide the service here is Nick Mendonca, midfielder from Miami. Has feinted two services now, with two different individuals checking in. Looping ball. Guenzati deflects out, another corner kick awarded. Sebastian Guenzati, 34 years old. He scored a goal or two in his career in the USL, and this being his first season in USL League One after quite the historic career in the USL Championship. It'll be Spangler from the right flag. Driven ball, headed away. Kofi trying to put it back into the mixer. And here come the Mingos. At least they are trying to get going. Good reactionary defending from the Cosmos. That one stayed in bounds. Puentes tracks it down. Anor applying pressure. And it deflects away for a corner kick on the other end of the pitch. Tristan Stefani needed to make a decision there. He avoids the worst case scenario. Stefani started the first 3 games before Derek Chan took a couple of nods. Now he's back in between the sticks for this one. See the wind whipping from that right corner flag. Getting around 10-mile-per-hour winds, roughly. That one had too much pace on it. Currently in the mid-40s as the Mingos veer around, find another opportunity. It's lifted up, played back across the middle. That effort contorted, it deflected away. And yet another corner kick. Good work here from Jackson Castro, getting his first start in League One play with Forward Madison. He's going to be an asset for this team all year long, Jackson Castro. Here comes the corner, bending in. Knotted down, takes one settle. Couple of gashes were attempted, and now Christian Kofi will run in the other direction. He's fouled by Gebhard. Both sides trying to break through on a corner kick, and then the other team trying to offer an instant counterattack. He's These are two teams that certainly have the legs for it. Got some pacey players at the top of each of these formations who can also make some quick decisions and really punish in that area. You look at guys like Spangler, Kofi Galazzini, or Stephen Anor, or Gebhard on the other side. Certainly options in that camp of things. Lobbed ball over top. Settled down by Galazzini. Guenzati. Kofi plays it out to the left-hand side. Puentes dragging it back across and lifted out of danger. And Donka, good tussling there to win the ball back. Fair play there as Torres goes to ground. The USL and the CBS Sports Network wraps up the month of April with a Brinks Tires USL Cup Group 5 matchup. Northeastern rivals Hartford Athletic and Rhode Island FC battle it out at 7 p.m. Eastern on April 25th. Catch all the action on the CBS Sports Network. That's definitely one worth tuning into, especially when you add in the USL Cup context. That game was real juicy last season. I believe they call it El Clanico. Those are two teams that do not like each other. Galazzini ripping it across the middle. And getting a piece of it, JT Harms. Galazzini, he is a problem. He's already scored from an angle pretty close to that, and not to mention, Christian Kofi is right there if that deflection just goes a tad differently. I think he's a player that is going to cause a lot of coaches and players headaches in this league this season, Davide Galazzini. Kofi serving it in, and it's knocked away. From Verona, Italy. Talking about Galazzini, is this one sent back to Stefani. Working it forward now. Spangler. Out of his clutches. Torres gets toppled over. And the whistle from Jeremy Shear. Justin Milovanov, the aggressor on that occasion, getting his 4th start of the season. Kid from Brooklyn. Edwards, rushing inside. Edwards still going. AJ Edwards, he's persistent here and he forces the hurried clearance. He's gonna go out for a deep, deep throw-in. AJ Edwards from San Jose, California. Launches this one into the 18. It's dragged over to Kanyane, and he'll pop it over the left-hand side, and no one in particular can receive it for Madison. The message this season in the early stages for Matt Glazer and his team has been to be hard to play against. And that has been the prevailing memo from preseason day 1 up to now. As I mentioned earlier, it's something you could control in the early stages where you're on the road so much. As Gebhardt trying to rip it across the center. Rolls it back to Edwards. He'll feed it inside. Torres was rushing for it. Glazer popping a few juggles there. Former player himself. Got to make sure you stay sharp with the ball at your feet. Edwards trying to dry up the ball with his jersey, but the jersey's also wet, so Glazer lends him the rag. Edwards lofts it in. Shot back towards goal. Anor! Tried to sneak it near post. And it's knocked away by Stefani. Derek Gebhardt does really well there to pop it into a nice place. And then Stefani able to redirect it out of bounds as Steven Anor tried to finish the job. Cross sent in, bobbling around. Kofi tries to poke it up the pitch. It's Gebhardt who picks it up. And a lot of traffic, he rolls it away to Torres. Gebhardt to Edwards. Sends in another service. It just sails over the head of Gebhardt. Kofi draws some contact. Play will go on. Christian Kofi, not the biggest guy out there, just 5'8". You're gonna take some bumps like that, especially when you're as slippery as he can be. And he's already proven that he could be a problem inside the penalty area. As I mentioned earlier, drew 2 pens in that last game against Charlotte Independence. Knocker. Rolled it up to Galazzini, and then couldn't find Spangler. Defensively for Madison. Gotta be adaptable. They've shown at times this season they can press, at times they've shown they can sit back in different blocks. Kofi doesn't quite get that by JT Harms, who had to come off his line and outside of the box to get there. End up being the right read, but it was certainly a precarious situation. Humphrey slicing up the pitch. Guenzati couldn't find a teammate. Now rushing forward is Castro. Edwards drifting in the middle. Now it's Torres. There's some real estate in front of him. They'll take it. See some positions swapping here, the kind of fluidity that we've grown accustomed to from Matt Glazer teams over the years. They haven't been a side that's held a ton of possession this year in particular. It's a younger group this season with different profiles, so obviously the product on the pitch is going to change a little bit when that's the case. Ryan Carmichael. I told y'all not to get confused, and I just confused myself there. Torres. Little dummy. Here's Ryan Carmichael. Carmichael cuts it across! And after a couple deflections, it's kept out. Not sure how much Stefani had to do with it there, or was it intervention from his back line? Let's see. It took a glance off of Knocker and then rolled over. Tino Puentes able to finish the job after that. Cami. Bringing it back is Both sides are throwing punches. Nothing has quite landed yet, but it has been a lively first 20 minutes. Edwards draws the foul, and a free kick is incoming. That's a reckless challenge from Ajmir Spangler. When you choose to leave your feet, you're putting yourself at risk. Just see how far he travels on the ground here. Yeah, that's, as I said, reckless. When you slide like that, you have to get it just right. Or else it can give danger to the opposition. So now a free kick for the Mingos. Three different players contributing to the brain trust here for what they're going to do on this set piece. Ryan Carmichael leaves, so it'll be Kanyane and Roman Torres behind the dead ball. Kanyane drags it over to Torres. He plays it on goal. Well crafted. But Tristan Stefani is up for the challenge. They're not paying him any mind, but it is a good reaction from Milovanov on the wall to very quickly peel once he recognized the situation, but nobody had him marked as he left the dead ball, which is exactly what the Mingos were hoping for. Kanyane now from the right corner flag. Curling it in, and it finds the back of the net. Forward Madison, break the deadlock. An Olympico from Geni Kanyane. Sailing over everybody's heads. Look how it dips down just underneath the crossbar. The wind coming into effect. It's misread by Stefani. I think he's even surprised. Hey, yeah, treat the goal scorer well. Don't push him to the ground. Forward Madison get on the board. Quite the curling effort from the left back from South Africa. And they're hungry for more. Well, that's a lovely ball. Edwards trying to twitch it by Anderson Holt. And another corner kick incoming. Perhaps smelling blood in the water here, forward Madison. Trying to strike again quickly. Well, they make it 2 for 2 here, Kanyane. First one went in all by itself. And this one, nodded off target. Took a glance, another corner is coming. I tell you what, Geni Kanyane putting in some good balls from this right corner flag. That one reaching Kevin Carmichael. Kanyane bending it in, punched over on this occasion. Stefani not going to be beaten twice. They're going to switch ends. I think that's beneficial to the Cosmos because that means Kanyane is not the one providing the service. It has been tantalizing from that right corner flag from Kenny Kenyane. The wind playing much of a factor here. Let's see how Roman Torres can do from the left corner. They'll have another go at it. Ball ripped inside, punched away by Stefani. It is a peppering in the box right now for forward Madison. It is coming often, and it's coming in with venom. Down on the ground, Colin McCamey, their center backs. Still on the ground after that last service. McCamey, part of what has been essentially an entirely reloaded roster for forward Madison. Just 2 returners from last season's team, and Monjoma barely played last year due to injury, so it's just Derek Gebhardt, the longtime man, and an almost entirely new set of faces for him and Matt Glazer to build up from the ground up this season. It's been a good start to the year. 2 road wins to start against 2 quality teams, mind you. Then a close loss on the road against Omaha last week, which I think is going to be a tough ask of anybody going in to Omaha to get a result. Up against this Cosmos team that Matt Glazer described as a good side and has a really good front 3. You look at the likes of Spangler, Kofi, Guenzati, Galazzini can even throw in that conversation. He says on paper they might be one of the best in that regard, so they're going to hover and be ready for transition opportunities. But for them, early on in this year for Madison, it's more so about the continuation of that memo to be hard to play against, and on top of that, just getting better on the ball. And, well, there have been lots of positives in that regard here in the first 30 minutes. This one rolls forward, and it's tapped out of play for a Madison throw. Will Lenore be the one to take it? No, he'll relinquish responsibilities. Watch the USL Championship in Spanish on 2DNA, the nation's leading Spanish language sports network. Go to uslchampionship.com for the complete USL TV listings. It'll be AJ Edwards on the throw. Once again, getting help from a dry rag, which I'm sure they're going to need to keep making sure they have available. Torres curling this one in. Not quite what he was hoping for. Right now the Cosmos, after having a handful of chances early on in the game, find themselves bunkered down and just bearing the weight of pressure that Madison's applying. Need to find some inspiration offensively and get it to that 34-year-old at the top of the formation, Sebastian Guenzati. A player they're really happy to have back in Cosmos colors, having spent time with them back in the NASL days, 2013 to 2016. That's where he started his professional career and won 3 NASL titles with the Cosmos. Giuseppe Rossi, the head of soccer for the Cosmos, was talking about how important it is to have that familiar face back with the club. Said it's someone who understands the ins and outs of being a Cosmos player, and Rossi also sort of empathized with Guenzati, mentioning that he was in his position at one point in the career, being the older guy, trying to be a leader and a mentor, and although they want him to be that on this team, they also think he could still be a key contributor on the team as well, not just a voice in the dressing room that can help other guys understand the responsibilities of playing as a professional, but also one of those guys that are in that conversation for Golden Boot at the end of the year. All right, let's buckle in for another corner kick from Kenny Kenyane. Scored an Olympico earlier in this game. This one curling inside and caught by Stefani. Took a tap, and he was able to snatch it on the second grasp. Fuentes. Roll this one back and finds Anderson Holt. The Cosmos look to reestablish themselves in this matchup. Madison currently have the edge around 57% in possession, which hasn't been the case in these first few matches this season, which is out of the ordinary for a Matt Glazer side. Usually they're a team that likes to have the ball and enjoy it and try to mix up the opponent as Galazzini makes a run down this right-hand side. He runs out of steam, and I don't want to leave a mark there on the left-hand side. A.J. Edwards tracking down on his opposite side. Talking about those possession, or lack thereof, for the Mingos early on in the season, it'll be a combination of a couple things. It's a younger side this year that's trying to understand the concepts, but also it's a change in approach a little bit. Matt Glazer mentioned that you have to coach the players you have, and this is a side that doesn't quite have the skill sets to be as ball dominant, but they are a team that has verticality, and so they want to make sure they harness that. Not every team is trying to have 60% possession every game. I mean, case in point, you can look at someone like the Chattanooga Red Wolves, who thrived without the ball last season, and that's their MO continuing into this year. And having more possession doesn't necessarily equate to winning more games if that possession isn't meaningful. All that being said, can they evolve and be better with the ball? Matt Glazer says absolutely. He thinks that winning home games will also help in that regard too, and they may be able to enjoy a little bit more possession once you get that comfortability in front of the home fans and you're no longer the team entering into enemy territory. Galazzini brought down, and now the question is, what kind of card is this? It's a straight red! After scoring a goal off a corner kick, Geni Kanyane is sent off. Jeremy Shear breaks out the Rojo, and it's an early end to the day for the man from Johannesburg. I mean, I think there is a very good case for a denial of a clear goal-scoring opportunity there. It's a very intentional foul. He's been beat, so he throws down Galazzini. And the tenor of this game dramatically changes. So Geni Kanyane will go to the dressing room with still 60 minutes roughly to play. And Madison, who had been laying siege on the Cosmos for a good stretch of time, will now most likely suffer a siege of their own. So he will exit the game. The emotional highs and lows of the sport, ladies and gentlemen. Now, can they make what is a positive situation an overwhelmingly glowing one? Cosmos with a set piece opportunity here. Spangler and Mendonca. Spangler has a go. It hits the wall. And Honor will boot it out of play. Stefani will pick up the pieces and start the distribution, but it's a loose pass. It's picked up and ripped by the goalkeeper. Backed home. Mingo's up by 2. When the opportunity presents itself, you've got to be unforgiving. Ryan Carmichael is so lethal. You leave it for the goalkeeper here, thinking you're safe, and there's just not enough pace on that ball, and the defender is not anticipating the pass, and then Carmichael rips it towards goal. It gets the job done. First goal of the season for the Englishman. I said it a moment ago, I'll say it again, the emotional highs and lows of the sport. Wow. And now here comes Galazzini. He appeals for a handball. He's not gonna get it. Select is proud to be the official match ball supplier of the USL League One. From the grassroots to the pros, Select is there every step of the way. Visit us.select-sport.com for the latest Select products, specials, and more. Select, the player's choice. Look at that lovely ball. You could get one yourself. Kick it just like that. Two lovely kicks of the ball have given Madison the 2-0 lead in this game. One from a corner kick and one from just inside midfield from Ryan Carmichael. And the Cosmos find at least one back before the halftime break. Here's Galazzini. Has an option in the middle. Rushing inside! Great extension from JT Harms. This game has been littered with drama, and it continues here. Kofi running forward, dances inside. Christian Kofi. He's gonna be given a card for simulation. Going to ground way too easily. And there it is. His second yellow card of the season. First off, let's look at this save from JT Harms. This one's dragged in the middle. Ajmer Spangler doesn't quite click it cleanly. And then Kofi. Oh yeah, nothing there. Not even a hair of a bump, and he tries to go down and get the official falling for his crass. But Jeremy Shear is not gonna have it. So far, his decision making in this game has been pretty sharp, including that red card. Up the pitch it goes, Galazzini once again, dashing by one defender, Galazzini. It stays in play, Guenzati has to track it to the corner. Fuentes turning by Edwards, but he stays locked on him. It'll be a Cosmos throw. Anderson Holt rolls it out wide. William Knocker on the ball. Galazzini's offside. Been a good 2 weeks for William Knocker, the 24-year-old defender from Fairfax, Virginia. Last game against Charlotte Independence, he was given a straight red. After appeal, that red card got rescinded, so he's able to play in this game here this afternoon. And then after that, got officially signed by the team. He came on a 25-day contract, and I mean, he's already had 2 starts in that time, and this being his 3rd today, has proven his craft. So, big congrats to now the official first-year pro. mean, that 25-day contract still technically counts as your first pro contract, but it certainly feels a lot more stable now that you're with the team for the long run. He's on the ball now. What a game it's been. Geni Kanyane scores a goal off a corner kick, then gets sent off, only for moments later Ryan Carmichael is able to intercept a pass from the goalkeeper and score while he's out of his box. Drama, lots of it. And we're only 40 minutes into this game, and as the game wears on and you're down a player, that's only going to mean more and more moments going forward for the Cosmos. Honor with some pressure, able to win the ball back for forward Madison. How about the composure here? Look at that from Kevin Carmichael. That's really good. You've got some dangerous players flying at you. And he is just so composed with the ball at his feet. Part of why we highlighted him before this game started. They have been solid defensively, and he's part to thank, along with McCamey and Turner Humphrey as that back three, and then you add in Kenyane and Edwards as the wingers. And ultimately, the whole team, though, has bought in defensively, and they're all contributing. But concerning that back three with McCamey, Carmichael, and Humphrey, Matt Glazer called them all very smart players who are coachable and all want to move up the soccer ladder here in the United States. And although they've got less experience than the back lines of years past in Ford Madison, they do have extra athleticism, which has really helped them in aerial duels and on those lobbed passes over top. Fuentes sends it in the middle. Carmichael's there. You want to get guys who are able to be tested over top and respond well, and that's exactly what this roster composition has demonstrated they can do so far this season. Honor with some room to operate. Steven Honor turns away, rolls it over to Edwards. AJ Edwards sifts it inside. It's tapped back to him. Tried to return the favor to Carmichael. And now Torres. Ref says play on. Kofi will rush forward. Now it's Spangler. Davide Galazzini sends it in the middle. Spangler pinballs a couple of feet, and then Madison able to deal with the danger. Doing well down a man so far. You're noticing players having to run and fill in that empty space that's being left by, well, there being one less player on the pitch for you. That's going to wear you down as the game goes along. Donka rolls it over to Anderson Holt. That's going to be the one challenge here for the Cosmos as this game continues, is that although you are up a player, you are down 2 goals, which means Madison defensively in their structure can make it feel like there's basically not a man disadvantage, and they'll just sacrifice their ability to go forward as dangerously as this one's ripped in the center. Fuentes back in the middle, deflected along. Not out of the woods yet until a handball is called. Right on cue. Some dangerous passes cut their way through the 18. Quinzati nearly tapping that one home, and then he had a second chance here. Soccer season is here, and SeatGeek is the official ticketing partner of the USL. Get all your USL tickets and more from the #1 ticketing site, SeatGeek, your ticket to great seats. Certainly been worth your seat so far in this one, even though it's a cold and rainy day in Patterson. There has been a lot to sink your teeth into, and we still have another half of action to go. Arms, down the field it goes. A.J. Edwards got a piece of that one, but Milovanov able to recover. Galazzini, cross into the middle. Harms able to get the initial contact on it, and then he tracks it down. Luckily, no one there to pick up the spillage for him. 45 minutes through. So far, Madison hanging on. The Cosmos starting to eye locations where they can do some damage. 2 more minutes left to go in the half. Fuentes. Takes a couple of deflections. McCamey will drag it back to JT Harms, the 24-year-old goalkeeper. One more minute left in this half. Knocker rolls it in the middle. We like the idea. Madison were ready for it. Kofi. Tap right back to him. Hold out wide. Fuentes finds Milovanov. Fuentes surveying a spot to play it into the penalty area. He didn't like his chances there. Looped over the top. Lunging in to nod that one away is Roman Torres. And there's the halftime whistle. Well, there's a ton to digest from this first half of action. An Olympico, a red card, and then a goal catching the keeper off his line, Ryan Carmichael. The last of the highlights, knocking it through and giving the Mingos a 2-0 lead going into the halftime break. But the Cosmos have a man advantage for another 45 minutes. What kind of tactical tweaks can they make to really put the pressure on the visitors? Well, everyone take a breather. Do what you got to do to recharge. We've got some halftime content coming your way on ESPN+. We're going to step aside. When we come back, we'll talk about some Week 6 accolades. We'll see you then.
I'm Bree, and I am Ion.
नाम कलीम चांद है और मैं आयन हूँ.
Yo soy Ayan Bank.
हम तजिंदर कौर ਅਸੀਂ ਆਇਨ ਬੈਂਕ ਹੁੰਦੇ ਹਾਂ.
I'm Taiwan, and I am Ion.
اسمي أدمى وأنا آيان.
Ja jestem Ion Bank.
Eu sou Ion Bank.
Ja jestem Ion Bank.
I am Ion. I'm Bree, and I am Ion.
नाम कलीम चांद है और मैं आयन हूँ.
Yo soy Ayan Bank.
हम ਤਜਿੰਦਰ ਕੌਰ ਅਸੀਂ ਆਇਨ ਬੈਂਕ ਹੁੰਦੇ ਹਾਂ.
I'm Taiwan, and I am Ion.
اسمي أدمى وأنا آيان.
Ja jestem Ion Bank.
Io so Ion Bank.
Ja jestem Ion Bank.
I am Ion.
Back here for halftime in Patterson. Currently, forward Madison leading 2-0 over the Cosmos, but down a player in this game. Mark Schoenster with you on ESPN+. It's halftime here, so let's talk about some of the news around the league. First off, our team of the week in week 6. You're not going to see any Cosmos players because they didn't play last week, and Madison losing in a 1-0 game on the road against Union Omaha. It's going to be pretty hard to get into the team of the week when even Omaha, who won that game, didn't get any players into the team of the week. It's pretty tough now to break into this, so if you make it, it's quite the high honor. Worth noting, though, Ajmer Spangler was player of the week in week 5 for his hat trick against the Charlotte Independents. But while we're here talking about accolades, we might as well show you the save of the week and the goal of the week as well from week 6, because who doesn't love some lovely highlights? So let's roll the tape and give you a peek at those goals and goal save, I guess.
On the other side of things, there is no substitute for a competitive match. This is an excellent opportunity for the visitors early on, and they scored inside the first minute.
Fort Wayne FC's fastest goal in club history started by a hunger for the ball. 3 players in the vicinity, and Tague Healy, the one that takes it away. A finish from outside the box. He strikes it into the bottom corner. 44 seconds in, Fort Wayne up in Chattanooga, and that is your select USL League One goal of the week.
Sarasota the other direction. Sensi again. He has to step on powder. Cuts it back brilliantly, and it's saved by Hammersley. Wow, that is a good save from Hammersley. That is great reflexes. This week on USL All Access, more interviews, less of us. The Detroit midfielder Maxi Rodriguez. Looking for that back post again. Rodriguez scores! That's the way to start it for Detroit City at home. The El Paso manager, Junior Gonzalez. And plenty of talk about the Open Cup and those unbeaten and those recently beaten in the league. You'll see it SiriusXM FC or the USL YouTube page every Tuesday night. Slipped through nicely for Williams. Shining once again for Hartford. Quizera settles. Dodea Quizera!
Pain doesn't care who you are or why you hurt, but pain can be mastered if you know the way. Fight back with Tiger Balm's legendary herbal power. Trusted for over 100 years, our proven blend of camphor, menthol, and essential oils tames pain with the strength and speed of the tiger, so that you can rise above pain and get back to living. This is the way of the tiger.
Today, we accomplished nothing. I mean it, not a thing. And it was kinda everything.
This spring, stay 3 nights and get a $50 Best Western gift card.
All right, back here for halftime at Hinchliffe Stadium. A lot of pondering being done by the Cosmos fans, currently trailing 2-0 against forward Madison. Mark Schoenster with you here on the broadcast. This being one of two games that'll be taking place today, this weekend, in USL League One action. We had a whole slate of matches yesterday, so let's take a peek at the standings. This is what it looked like going into today. Standings presented by Capelli Sport. These two teams right next to each other, though. If this result holds as it stands right now, Madison would jump all the way up to 5th place with 9 points in just 4 games, all of which on the road. That's a pretty darn good spot to be in when you know that this first opening slate of the season is going to be really tough for this Mingo side. Cosmos love being in this conversation early on in the year where you're still laying the groundwork, trying to figure out what you are as a team. Pick up some wins along the way. You can feel pretty good about that, but they need to bounce back in this game as we take a peek now at the scores from yesterday into today. So 3 games yesterday, another game that's going to kick off eventually. Right now it's delayed until 3:43 Eastern time / 2:43 Central time, depending on where you're watching from. So eventually that last game between Portland and Naples will get going, though the weather slowing things down there, as we got some weather in our area too, but not enough to keep the game on halt. How about AC Boise, though? A throttling at home, really making an announcement that they are here and they are serious in their inaugural year in USL League One. Also, the Kickers getting their first win of the season, knocking off the Owls. Pretty impressive stuff there. With that, we're going to step aside for the halftime update. Dan Lucas has got you covered with all the news across the USL.
It is halftime in League One. Time for the headlines around the league. We hope you're enjoying your match so far. I'm Dan Lucas inside the USL studio. How about that major cup set in the 3rd round of the US Open Cup? One Knoxville played to a 3-3 draw against DC United, then grabbed the win in penalty kicks. One Knox will face Columbus Crew in the round of 16. Championship clubs Louisville City and Colorado Springs also advanced with upset victories in round 3. Another first-year club picked up its first ever victory in week 6. Tig Healy scored just 44 seconds into Fort Wayne's match against Chattanooga Red Wolves. That's all the visitors needed in a 1-0 victory. 4 of the 5 League One expansion teams now have a win this season. USL's young core players continue to shine in the spotlight. Today we look at Vigo Ortiz of Charlotte Independence. Ortiz has scored twice in Charlotte's 3 League One matches. He also scored a goal in the US Open Cup last month. Ortiz played the entire 90 minutes in Charlotte's match against the Cosmos. The USL Championship has a pair of upcoming national broadcasts. Next Saturday, it's El Clamico in the Prinks Tires USL Cup, Hartford Athletic and Rhode Island. Then on Saturday, May 2nd, Detroit City hosts Louisville City. Both matches are on CBS Sports Network. Those are your League One headlines. We're getting closer to the second half. Let's get you back out to your match.
I'm Brie, and I am Ion.
नाम कलीम चांद है और मैं आयन हूँ.
Yo soy Ayan Bank.
I'm Tajinder Kaur, ਅਸੀਂ ਆਇਨ ਬੈਂਕ ਹੁੰਦੇ ਹਾਂ.
I'm Taiwan, and I am Ion.
اسمي أدمى وأنا آيان.
Ja jestem Ayan Bank.
Eu sou Ion Bank.
Ja jestem Ayan Bank.
I am Ion. I'm Brie, and I am Ion.
नाम कलीम चांद है और मैं आयन हूँ.
Yo soy Ayan Bank.
I'm Tajinder Kaur, ਅਸੀਂ ਆਇਨ ਬੈਂਕ ਹੁੰਦੇ ਹਾਂ.
I'm Taiwan, and I am Ion.
اسمي أدمى وأنا آيان.
Ja jestem Ayan Bank.
Eu sou Ion Bank.
Ja jestem Ayan Bank.
I am Ion.
All right, the second half, moments away from getting started. Before we can do that, we're going to catch you up on what took place in the first half of action. Whether you're tuning in late and need to catch up, boy, do we have a lot to teach you about. Or if you just need a recap after having all that halftime content come your way, it starts with an Olympico. Curling effort from Genny Kanyane, his first goal as a Mingo, coming over from Chicago Fire 2. I mean, it's a great strike. You got a little wind blowing in your favor. It just tucks under the crossbar. Stefani didn't gauge it correctly, but then Kanyane got into the storyline in the opposite way. Commits a goal-scoring, denying opportunity foul and takes out Davide Galazzini, which means a straight red for the left wing back. He's done for the day. Pretty appropriate reaction there from him. But just moments later, loose pass from Stefani. I'll take that, thank you very much, says Ryan Carmichael. And then he rips it towards goal. Great finish. And he makes it 2-0 in favor of forward Madison. I mean, that's just a fantastic strike from that distance. Not only did it get by the goalkeeper, but it had some pace on it too, as here are the halftime stats. A pretty even split in a lot of the numbers, but two important numbers. Obviously, one, it's 2-0 in favor of forward Madison, but also one that you don't see here. It's going to be 11 players versus 10 in favor of the Cosmos. You just saw the red card from Genny Kanyane. That is the difference in the number of personnel on the pitch. So how will the Cosmos attack this second half, given that advantage in the player count, coupled with the disadvantage of being down 2 goals? Madison can really sit in this second half, because if it's just 1-0, you feel the pressure to still try and find a third goal if you're the Mingos. And obviously, if an opportunity presents itself, you go for it. But you could be a little bit more comfortable playing conservatively and committing numbers back, given the fact you're at a disadvantage, to make sure you stay short up defensively and you don't leave any lethal gaps on the backside. And it does appear that some reinforcements are going to come in from Matt Glazer. Eddie Monjoma, an experienced player, will add some more of that veteran presence on the pitch for this Mingos team. One of just 2 returners from last year, but only played 4 total games in 2025. So really, he's in many ways a pretty new player for the Mingos as well. The only difference, of course, is that he's been in the area, been in the city. He has been hearing the tutelage of the coaching staff for over a year now, so he'll have a better understanding of the expectations. That's going to be pretty valuable here. They're also without a wingback given Kanyane's dismissal, so Monjoma can sit in as that other wingback accompanying AJ Edwards, so as long as he's not the one being subbed out. We don't have confirmation yet on which player he'll be subbing in for, but we'll get that in just a moment, as the visitors will look to grit their teeth and hang on to this result. Meanwhile, Cosmos, can they find conversions on the opportunities they're generating? I think this is an appropriate song to be playing in the background. It's been a crazy game so far. Just waiting for the electronic board to signal who is subbing out for Matt Glazer. JT Harms so far has done well between the sticks, has made the needed saves that have been called of him. And I think this is not a surprising change. Steven Honor will be subbed out and Eddie Monjoma will take his place. So a striker for a defender, and like I said, you can afford to sacrifice some of that danger going forward because you have this 2-goal lead. It's not as shaky as a 1-0 lead would be here if you were down a player. You have the liberty to sacrifice a weapon going forward. But even then, ultimately, you are at a man disadvantage. Cosmos will be doing everything they can to pick you apart. As we get this second half started, the whistle sounded by Jeremy Shear, and then the ball placed over into the corner to pin back the Cosmos. Mark Schoenster with you here on the broadcast. Tons of drama in the first half. What is in store for us here on the second 45? Madison started off the season with 2 wins on the road, and it's been 2 straight wins in their last 2 games at home for the Cosmos. Right now, the Mingos threatening to snap that win streak. Come away with all 3 points here as they continue their long road stretch to start the season. Manjoma rolls this one back. Castro will find Lakami. They will not take any chances that they don't like. Davide Corti will hand this one. Manjoma looks like he's going to give away the throwing responsibilities. Well, at least so he thought for a moment. Manjoma in the middle for Gebhard. Derek Gebhard out wide and once again suffers a deflection. Any moment stuck along the touchline like this are moments that the Mingos will savor. Torres bumped off balance, and it'll be a free kick for forward Madison. It's going to require some heroics here in the second half for the Cosmos if they're going to salvage a result. It's just over 55 years since the Cosmos won their first game as a club. It was last Friday was the 55-year anniversary. They beat the St. Louis Stars in the NASL. It was their first ever win. And it was also their league debut in the NASL. That game played at Busch Stadium, which is still the home to the St. Louis Cardinals today. Service driven in. And partially handled by the Cosmos. Can't watch the match? Turn on Sirius XM FC 157, North America's only 24/7 source for engaging soccer talk, including USL All Access on Tuesday nights. Plus hear live matches from the USL, MLS, Premier League, and more. All on Sirius XM FC 157 and the Sirius XM app. Ball sent up the pitch for Spangler. Ajmer Spangler drags it by the goalie and cuts this deficit in half. Goal number 5 in what has been an explosive start to his Cosmos career. Ajmer Spangler, aptly done there. Not a lot of wiggle room, but he dances just fine. Five goals, 3 assists. The man from Tampa has been cooking in this kit. Really, really good. And that is a spark that the Cosmos are looking for, especially early on here in the second half. Now you've got the fire underneath you as this one's taken from the goalkeeper, and Guenzati ties the game. In a matter of moments, the Cosmos have leveled this one. One keeper error apiece for the two teams. And a couple of very unforgiving strikers taking full advantage. He just whiffs it. JT Harms misses the ball. Guenzati's right there. That's an easy goal for the veteran. Wow. So about 5 minutes ago, the vibes are, can the Cosmos find a way to scrape back into this game? And 5 minutes later, they're hunting already for all 3 points. How the tides can change. What a whirlwind of emotions we've had in this one. A lot of jubilation to start off this second half for the home side. Can they keep their foot on the gas now? Well, I thought that game against the Independents 2 weeks ago was a pretty wild one. I think we've gotten one up here in this game, regardless of the result. We still got 40 more minutes, roughly. I mean, 2 goalkeeper lowlights in this game. Tristan Stefani with too light a pass, not on the same page with his back line, and credit to Ryan Carmichael, it's a great finish from distance to put it with some pace towards goal. And then JT Harms with it's just an error. It's a clear error, and Sebastian Guenzati was more than ready to pick up the loose pieces and roll it home for an easy finish. This will roll out to Kofi. Christian Kofi rolls it to his left. Ball driven across the middle. Manjoma nods it away. Played back in the middle by Knocker. The Cosmos trying to keep the good times rolling here. Kofi into Guenzati, chipped up by Spangler. I don't think that was the shape of the pass he was looking for. Knocker to the right-hand side for Galazzini. He'll jitter inside. It rolls to the top. And Donka sends it to his left for Puentes. It's Kofi once again. That service doesn't get very far. Body blocked by Gebhard. They've got the Mingos pinned in deep. Good pressure, but even better absorbing of the pressure from Kofi as Gebhard now has it. Carmichael rushing up the pitch. He's got Manjoma streaking, plays it in the center. Manjoma tackled by the turf monster. Just had to change his trajectory just a little bit. And now Galazzini on the other end. Plays it in the middle. Was searching for Guenzati. Couldn't quite combine. Ball kept in play by Edwards. You cannot take your eyes away from this game for even a second. Every single interaction, every single pass, you gotta be locked in. Spangler chips it up for Guenzati, and Harms claims it. Oh my goodness. Kofi running over to the boundary. And it's out of play for a Cosmos throw. Chavez slides it out wide to Knocker. He'll play it right back. Carmichael applies pressure. Holt rolls it in the middle. Now it's Kofi once again. Up against Gebhard. Rolls it into the middle. Fuentes. He's offside. There are a couple of hands going up, and it seemed like a reasonable decision to be made. Ion Bank, trusted, local, and always on your team. Whatever your personal or business banking goals, we're here to help you reach them. Discover the power of community banking and see what Ion Bank can do for you. You can find them at ionbank.com. Cammy ushering that one away from Spangler. But some carries dribbling here as the Mingos are trying to get out of danger. Galazzini nods it forward. And back to McDonka. Torres gets out of harm's way. This is game number 4 in what is an 8-game opening road stretch to start the season for Forward Madison, 7 of which of those games in USL League One play, or actually, incorrect, either USL League One play or USL Cup play. One of those matches being the Open Cup game they played in. But 8 total road games in official competitions before they get their first home match of the season, which is on the 16th of May against Detroit City in the Brinks Tires Cup. And if you're wondering what the reason for that is, it's because they're installing new turf at Bree Stevens Field, and from what I've heard, it's just about done there, the installation, and now it's just about all the quality control checks to make sure it's ready to go. I think the objective is to get the guys to train on it in a week or 2. Should all the systems be a go and the lights go green. Speaking of green, it's been all green here in the second half so far. Kofi, curler, knotted down, parried away by Harms. Curled over to the left corner now. Cosmos trying to find a third one. Winding in, service blocked by Edwards. Galazzini on the ball. He'll drag it all the way back to his keeper, Tristan Stefani. He rolls it over to Knocker. Kofi was not ready for that pass, and so the Mingos will intercept and try to rush forward. Torres to his left. Castro turning back inside. Switches it over to Gebhard. Edwards is offside. Well, if you're just now tuning in, it has been quite the electric game so far. We got an Olympico from Kenny Kanyane. He was then sent off about 10 minutes later, only for right after that, a goalkeeper error, a bad pass, intercepted by Ryan Carmichael. He takes the shot from roughly 40 yards out and scores. Here's Spangler, working his way inside. Spangler tried to pick out the left post. Which then trickles into what took place in the second half here, giving you the recap. Ajmir Spangler gets the scoring started early in half number 2. He only has a second here. And then just moments later, an error from the other goalkeeper, JT Harms, pounced on by Gwenzati. 2 goals in about a minute and a half, roughly. Tying the game up and has tilted all of the energy in favor of the home side here. Now we have 30 more minutes to go. Whistle is sounded and the Cosmos will restart once again. Warning being issued here to AJ Edwards.
He's doing too much. Yellow card, bro. Come on. Get him out.
Edwards not a fan of whatever the instructions are being given to him by Jeremy Shear, but you gotta listen to them nonetheless. eFootball is here. Live your dream, rep your team, play as your favorite USL Championship club. eFootball is free to play. Download now. That's dished out of play. Turner Humphrey clearing it out. Galazzini chases his touch. Still with it, Galazzini sends it inside, and it's caught by Harms. Got down on his knees and made sure it fell right into the breadbasket. Well, going in to the last 2 home games, Davide Corti was hoping to see determination from his side. They brought it against Fort Wayne. You saw it again against the Independents, and you certainly seen it here, down 2 goals, and came out with a fire here in the second half of action. And with each of those results, you get more belief. You start this season off with 3 straight losses. You can't blame players for maybe asking some questions as a free kick is awarded to the Mingos. But you get 2 wins, and now the buy-in starts amplifying, and you're stacking players' chemistry and belief and all of those good things that convince players to go that extra mile in training every day. And that can translate onto the pitch. Now we got to see what kind of character this Madison team has, because things were going really well for them, including after being dished a red card. But here in the second half, they've taken a swift punch to the face. Carmichael doesn't quite dip down the way he was hoping. Not bad shape, but it's always a challenge from that distance. Foul on Torres and a free kick for the Cosmos. William Patterson University is proud to be the official university partner of the New York Cosmos. We're a powerhouse in business education and the #1 producer of MBAs in New Jersey. Explore our wide range of undergraduate and graduate programs at wpunj.edu. Ball rolled out wide. Guenzati giving it chase, but can't get there in time. It's been about 15 minutes since he tied this game up. Madison trying to slow this game down and then fish for chances going forward when they can. initial contact on the service will award the free kick for the Cosmos. We're going to get a yellow card here. And that's going to be a yellow card for Matt Glazer. So the head coach for Forward Madison going into the books here. Had to change his coaching approach with the team this year. It's a younger roster. A little more athletic though. And as any good coach should be, you adapt and you coach to the players you have in front of you. You're not trying to fit a square peg into a circle hole. You've got different profiles, guys who are going to be stronger if you play in a different style. And so it's been a big difference for him coaching this crew as opposed to past seasons. And he says it's a challenge as a coach, but you want that when you're coaching. As this one just trickles by Galazzini, cleared away by Carmichael. As I was saying, Matt Glazer said you want to prove that you're versatile as a coach and that you're capable of putting together a winning team with a different kind of player base. Well, this is their 4th game into the season, all of which have been on the road with a almost entirely brand new roster. Already got 2 wins. I think you can feel pretty good about where this team is at. Now, we'll see how the rest of this game goes, but I would say even worst case scenario, if it goes down south and you lose this game, 2 wins, 2 losses in your first 4 games, as that one goes off of sheer. They'll whistle the play dead. It'll be a drop ball.
These referees are just terrible. They're unreal.
And during this dead ball, it's going to be a substitution for the Mingos.
It's the refs, yeah.
So first off, Ryan Carmichael, one of the goal scorers, will come out for Claudel and Gubu. And then also exiting the game, Jackson Castro for Enrique Macacen. Gubu, who got the start last game against the Owls. Macacen also a starter in that game. So both played valuable minutes this season for the Mingos. And we'll look to provide some fresh legs, which, you know, you say that in any given game, and it's even more important in this one as Torres has it deflected out to the right-hand side. Edwards working his way in, and the pieces are cleaned up, but the offside flag goes up. Claudel and Gubu trying to score with his first touch of the game, but he's in an offside position. So Ngubu will be denied the delight, and it'll stay at 2-2. All met there by Manjoma. And they throw in one by Enrique Macacen. Sends this down the field and ends up finding a green jersey. Edwards gets hit in the head, and that'll earn the whistle from our head official. Took a shot from Justin Milovanov. At Bellevue University, your success is the only thing that matters. That's why they offer education that's designed to help you achieve your next goal. Find out more at degrees.bellevue.edu/goals. "70 minutes through this game. A game packed with energizing moments, jaw-dropping instances, and here we are at 2-2 apiece. Ajmer Spangler trying to create another one of those highlights. He goes down, and the ref sees nothing in it. Spangler put away 3 penalties in the last game that he played in, none of which were drawn by him. Yeah, I don't. That would be cruel. They may have even technically been initiated outside the penalty area. That angle not exactly definitive. Spangler sends it over to Kofi. Edwards springs up for it. He's able to knock it away, and I think that's preferable to AJ Edwards, even though it ends up going back to the Cosmos. Pretty cold day in Madison, New Jersey, around 44 degrees with over 10-mile-per-hour winds, which certainly contributed to the first goal today. Corner kick that just swerved under the crossbar from Geni Kanyane. Galazzini in the corner, plays this one back to Knocker. He feeds it inside. Mendonca lifting it to Galazzini. And oof. The call is goal kick here. I guess it wasn't quite kept in play by Galazzini. Ultimately a harmless play. USL Championship and League One are on CBS Sports and ESPN platforms all season long. Catch live matches and expert analysis every day on the CBS Sports Golazo Network and ESPN Plus. Go to USLChampionship.com or USLLeague1.com for the complete USL TV listings. Gubu with his fresh legs, taking on Puentes. Puentes does really well there, and the ref not falling for any of the crafts, and then it will be a foul called on Ngubu, and he'll get a yellow, pleading his case about the ball, but he will go into the books for the first time this season. First-year pro out of UCF.
Yellow card issued to number 11, Claudel Ngubu of Ford Madison. Tarjeta amarilla para el número 11, Claudel Ford Madison FC.
There's a situation where the assistant is right there and has a really good angle on it. May have had an arm throwing off Puentes on the back end. And Ngubu will get the booking, and action will resume in favor of the Cosmos. Still waiting for the go-ahead to be given here. And now we got a player down. This is for the New York Cosmos. Looks to be Tino Puentes, who is ailing and grabbing his left leg. Checked on here. Puentes getting his first start as a pro from Garwood, New Jersey. So another one of these guys from the state that know all about the history of the Cosmos, and so I'm sure it's pretty special for him to be able to wear the shirt and represent the club as His day will come to an end here, though, 75 minutes in after picking up that knock, and he'll be replaced by Nestor Cabrera. A 22-year-old from Cowan Heights, California, so not quite New Jersey. So he may need to do a little more learning about what it means to represent the Cosmos, or at least he would have had to when he first joined the club. I'm sure he's pretty well educated at this point. Though, counterpoint, he played at Rutgers, so he may have been taught up in college, but it is different growing up around it versus being introduced to it at an older age. Spent 4 years with the Scarlet Knights, 2 goals, 4 assists in his over 60 appearances with the club, as Tino Puentes is helped all the way off. Hope it's nothing too serious for him. So about 15 more minutes to go. 2 goals in the second half for the Cosmos has tied this game up, and they still have the player advantage. Can they find a third, or can Madison find a stunning goal down a player? They flirted with the idea once or twice. Ajmir Spangler getting the goal scoring started here in the second half. He was called the best player on the pitch during that game against Fort Wayne. Then he turns around and gets a hat trick the next game. He's got another goal in this one as this ball's rolled in. Falls right back to Galazzini. Sent inside, Spangler cuts it outside. Shot taken by Mendonca, and it's through the uprights. Oh no, it went over the fence. That one's going down the hill. That ball boy who's running over there is in for a long journey if he's aiming to complete the mission. Yeah, that's pretty far away. I mean, there's not 1 but 2 fences there, and I would not recommend him jumping that second one. He looks longingly. That might be an after-game trip, if it's even worth going and finding it at all, though. Those select balls are pretty nice, so you don't want to lose them. Here's Kofi. Hoping this one doesn't sail over the 2 fences as it curls off target as well. That ball a little bit easier to put back into play there. Good work. Recognizing the situation and knowing, all right, well, I still know where my other slick balls are, and I can make sure we can get this game going once again, even if we're down 1. If nothing else, maybe there's some wildlife that can enjoy playing some footy here later this afternoon. Knocker plays it over to the right-hand side for Galazzini. Trying to dance by Monjoma. It's a teasing ball. Spangler, one-timer. And it takes a deflection for a corner kick. It was an early spurt here in the second half to tie the game for the Cosmos. Can they find a third? It'll be Spangler to provide the service here from the right corner flag. A lot of juice on that one. And ultimately, flies by everybody. Well, I guess it took a Madison glance, so it'll stay with the Cosmos. Thrown near the penalty area. lifted out of danger with some authority. As you can see, a couple of substitutions being made here. Both number 17s coming out of the game. So Derek Gebhardt and Davide Galazzini are leaving the match. You can see Julian Locker coming on for the Italian, and Joshua Bolma coming in for the longtime Madison man, Derek Gebhardt. Joshua Bolma can offer some different looks up top for this Madison team. Meanwhile, Locker, just 18 years old, in the early stages of his career, but not inexperienced playing at the pro level, although this is his first pro contract, having played at NYCFC as an academy player on the second team. So an amateur getting pro experience. Now a full-fledged pro now. JT Harms, well within his own territory. Lofts this one, cross midfield. Mendonca trying to chip it along. Manjoma up the pitch for Bolma. Actually, that was Ngubu. Before action can resume, William Knocker a little slow to get up, and he's appealing that he got hit with an elbow. Claudel Ngubu is a big dude, 6'5", so those elbows do come up a little bit higher than where you're used to when you're contesting with somebody. You can see that sometimes happen in the sport of basketball, where you get one of those giants who are like 7 feet tall, and not by any malicious intent of their own, they'll hit someone with their elbow just because their elbow is located near the guy's head, just by default. Of course, in that situation, it is the responsibility of the player with the higher elbows to make sure it doesn't hit the opposition in a dangerous way. So that is by no means an excuse for Ngubu. Locker running it along, sends in the cross, not fully dealt with, and then fully dealt with. Kofi inside to Mendonca, now it's Kofi again. Cosmos looking to see if they can ask a couple more questions before the final whistle. Walker, one-on-one with his man, sends it inside. Torres provides the clearance. One-on-one with Enrique Moccasin over on the right-hand side, and it'll be a quick reload for the Cosmos. Chavez. Walk it to midfield, and he'll launch it out left. Got it towards Guenzati. Kofi tapping it back into the middle before it's rotated over to Knocker. Knocker, once again, trying to find Guenzati, who has one goal in this game. Though it wasn't through any combination play from teammates, as this one sent inside. Headed away for a corner. Knocker was nearby, but it just went over his head. Manjoma keeps it from reaching anybody else. Mendonca plays it to the corner. Spangler sends it to Locker, and it's a corner. This time Spangler will take it with 5 more minutes plus stoppage time to go. Spangler crossing it in, not out of the woods. Takes a bounce. Kofi. Trying to slither himself free, was unsuccessful though. Spangler whipping in a ball just beyond the head of a target. And now can they rush in the other direction? The Mingos are running. And Gubu threads it inside. Torres goes down. And the ref says play on. It'll be a corner kick. Roman Torres trying to understand the decision. Look at his expression after that play. I'm always one that does not like a game being determined by a penalty. If it doesn't seem abundantly obvious a foul, then I'm going to err on the side of not awarding one. When it's a pen, it's a pen, and in that situation, I can't say I'm super certain. Corner curled in. One back by the Mingos. Torres deflected along and caught by Stefani. Once this game's done, we encourage you to tune in to Hearts of Pine and Naples on ESPN Plus, which has now gotten started. An early goal for the home side, so I'm sure there are some limbs there as they get their first home goal of the season. They played last weekend, and it was a 0-0 draw with one Knoxville. But don't switch the channel until this one's done, because this game has kept us on our toes throughout. Oh, this slipped through for Kofi, but getting there just a moment sooner is JT Harms. Well, if there's one thing for certain, it's that Forward Madison early on in the season has been tested. You start your road trip with a game against one Knoxville, the reigning champs, who have now beaten an MLS team, by the way, in penalties, but a victory's a victory. Had to score 3 goals to do it, so I think that's a pretty valid result. Then you had to go to Naples, who are currently sitting at the top of the table, mind you. And then you go on the road to Union Omaha, who are going to be another contender this year, I would anticipate. And now you have this game where you're playing down a man for about 60 minutes, and you're up against what has been an incredibly potent offense in the Cosmos. This is a team that's getting tested a lot early on in this year, and there's 2 ways it could go, according to Matt Glazer. Either it'll be beneficial or you can burn out. His gut tells him that this is going to make them really strong as the season goes along, and then they get the compensation, or I guess the, what's the word I'm looking for? The rebalancing of home games as the year goes along. Kofi's pocket is picked. Torres looking up the pitch, doesn't have a ton of options. Edwards gets clipped. Play will go on. Out wide it goes to Locker. Locker swerving inside. Locker shoots! Tried to pick out the top corner. It didn't go through. Julian Locker, the 18-year-old, nearly getting his first of the season and his first as a Cosmo player. That's been given as a corner kick. Not sure if that was the correct decision, but they're going to get another go at it here, the Cosmos, as we see 3 more minutes tacked on. Will there be a late winner for one of these 2 sides? Locker lifted across, head up to Kofi. He'll nod it into the middle. And Gubu hits the brakes for a moment as he tries to stutter his way forward. Really nowhere to go. A lot of green jerseys in front of him. Edwards lofting it up the pitch. Boma plays it back to Manjoma, and he goes down again. That's twice now that he has stumbled trying to get a ball that's been directed towards him. Well, that's a reckless challenge. Ball is out of play. And now we got to see what the decision is from our head official, as a yellow card is going to be given to Torres. And I think that's a fair decision. That's his third yellow of the season. So you play advantage, which makes sense. The ball rolls out of bounds. So you bring it back to where the foul's committed. Yeah, that's, even if he barely made any contact, that's a moment and initiation that you do not take kindly to if you're the head official. Ball sent over to the left-hand side. Cutting in, ripping the shot, it's blocked away. 1 more minute to go. At this point, if you're Madison, you're just hanging on to this point. The Cosmos will be the ones throwing the bodies forward, trying to get all three at home. Say that, and it's a free kick for the Mingos, so now they can get some numbers forward, and JT Harms can loft it up the pitch and try to make it so the visitors get the last chance in the game. Harms launching it over to the corner. Akami back over to Manjoma. Mendonca trying to find Locker. Torres turns off one player. Oh, it's a lovely slid ball up ahead, and the offside flag goes up. It was close, and Gubu just starting his run a little early. And the final whistle sounds. A wild game results in points split between the Mingos and the Cosmos. 2-2 your final score. Forward Madison survived down a man for 60 minutes, and the Cosmos come back from a 2-0 deficit. So some positives to glean away from both of these sides in what was a chaotic affair. And what a game it was. 2-2 your scoreline. We'll try to unpack more of it in our post-game content following this break on ESPN+. 2-2 once again your final score, a draw between these two sides.
I'm Brie, and I am Ion.
नाम कलीम चान है और मैं आयन हूँ.
Yo soy Ayan Bank.
हम ਤਜਿੰਦਰ ਕੌਰ ਅਸੀਂ ਆਇਨ ਬੈਂਕ ਹੁੰਦੇ ਹਾਂ.
I'm Taiwan, and I am Ion.
اسمي أدمى وأنا آيان.
Ja jestem Ayan Bank.
Eu sou Ion Bank.
Ja jestem Ayan Bank.
I am Ion.
Well, what a game we had here at Hinchliffe Stadium. 2-2 your final score between the Cosmos and the Mingos. Davide Corti and his side now unbeaten in their last 3 games, all of which at home. Madison, after a loss last weekend, are able to pick up a point in the 4th of their 8 games on the road to start the season. Mark Schoenster with you here on ESPN Plus, closing up everything here on the broadcast. Here are your full-time highlights, starting off with the Olympico from Geni Kanyane. And that would be our final score in the game. The Cosmos would continue to push and fight to see if they can get a third. They were definitely the more likely to score in the second half after, well, scoring twice already in the second half. But they couldn't find that final winner to get all 3 points and make it 3 straight wins, so they'll have to settle for a point. Like I said earlier, you can take the positive of you come back from 2-0 down to get a point at home. Meanwhile, for the Mingos, you could be happy that you were down a man for 60 minutes and were able to still take a point on the road. So I think both sides have something to be happy about. Now they'll both turn their attention to playing a USL Championship side in the Prince Tires Cup. It's a road game to Lexington for the Mingos. It's right here at home once again against Brooklyn next week for the New York Cosmos. That is where this broadcast will end. We recommend you tuning over to the Hearts and Naples game, which is actually 0-0 for our entire broadcasting crew. My name is Mark Schoenster. We hope you have a fantastic rest of your weekend, and we'll see you next time on ESPN Plus.
This copyrighted telecast of the United Soccer League cannot be retransmitted, rebroadcast, or reproduced without the express written consent of the United Soccer League.